Okay, so many millions of people play the lottery. I don't begrudge them for it, I don't judge them for it, I have no real opinion on those that choose to partake in it. It is, after all, a rather cheap way of lucking out. Perhaps my perspective on it's a little bit meh, because I don't really care about wasting money on a chance, says the guy who invests money in a YouTube channel that may or may not work out at all. That said, I thought I'd perhaps say what I think it is to me, the lottery that is. So to me, the lottery is an addictive way for some to guess some of their favoured numbers, or numbers of significance, into lucking out on a random bingo-style number selector and potentially winning millions. Mega millions. Tens of millions, some in fact in the 100 and ish more. Millions. Over the years, there have been a number of winners that have gotten a considerable amount of publicity because of it. Some because of their age, who have subsequently realised money wasn't everything and a quieter life had to be earned once they actually lived a life. Others winning millions and blowing it within a few years, now to the point where they have a regular day job as a bin man, living off the interest they have from a few bonds they were clever enough to get before they blew all their money. There are also others that won a lot of money, got a lot of publicity, but then fell out with the person they were with at the time, subsequently losing money in the inevitable divorce, because they wanted a younger, more attractive lover. As a consequence for all that happens with the lottery, there's a typical isolation, because a lot of people, when they find out you've won money or you have money, start to ask you for money. I don't personally understand it, and I say it as somebody with a very close relative that is kind of wealthy. Perhaps my moral compass just won't let me, because I can look after myself, so why bother? But charities, they do take advantage of it once they learn of it. We have heard of cases, and I wish I'd archived them, where some people have ended up just giving the money away because they were happier without it. Or they'd go back to their regular life, even with millions in the bank, because they'd rather know it was there and not have to use it, and continue to live their normal life because their normal life fulfilled them. This is all important because I wanted to highlight how to many it is considered a gift and a curse to win the lottery, to win 7 to 9 figures. I did some thinking. I tried to work out how much I would need to live for the rest of my life comfortably without having to work, and then I realised, but I quite like working, so it's not worth it. I like having something to do. That said, of course, it's a rather narrow-minded view to think that just because you're not working, you're not doing something, but working is the easier way out, for me, rather than finding hobbies that don't become so addictive that I end up blowing all my money on it anyway, like fruit machines, which are totally 100% guaranteed ways of winning lots of money. Did I need a sarcasm sign for that? Because I don't think I did. For this story, as I've indicated this Mega Millions nonsense, I want to insert a man, Richard Zalasko, a man from Michigan who is in the middle of a divorce with Mary. In 2011, they filed for divorce after being married for 7 years. In 2013, Richard Zalasko won the lottery. At that point, they were living separately and had, with the assistance of an arbitrator, worked out details of their split, which included child support payments and custody of the 3 children that they had. The divorce, though, wasn't finalised until 2018, meaning that the $80 million he had won, which we're going to get to something rather important about in a moment, was still considered a shared commodity, which I think many of us can agree doesn't sound right. It's worth now considering, and this is the money part we should take into account, that of the $80 million he won, after taxes and deductions, that total goes down to $38,873,628. Understandably, with Rich being a long-time gambler, professional obviously, a winner no doubt, the wife would want to secure some of the funds to make sure the children are truly taken care of. That is, after all, surely what the motivation is for Mary, right? There is a complete lack of information in the article about this. What had actually set Richard up to fail, though, in the sense that he would have gotten away with having the money and not telling anyone about it, was that an arbitrator noticed that he had not paid child support, and that in the years that they'd been together, Mary earned 3 times as much from her job as Richard did from the business he ran, which is a t-shirt shop. In a rather unfortunate twist, the original arbitrator John Mills, who was the one that decided all contested issues, passed away in 2014 before the arbitration process was complete. As losses throughout the marriage were shared jointly, he believed the winnings should also be shared jointly. Richard made the request to the court to vacate Mills' decision, the arbitrator. He argued that the arbitrator was biased against him and that the death was the ultimate disqualification, with the appeals court deciding on the case on whether Mills had made a legal error, where they ruled that his decision should stand. In a new statement to People, Rich has already filed a motion asking the court to reconsider, and if the motion were denied, they would appeal the decision to the Michigan Supreme Court. Now this raises a number of questions, and I think this is actually worth addressing, because I think it depends on a bit of context, I think. They were together for 7 years, but the wife was out earning him. She got custody of the kids. He won $38 million, essentially. He's now got the money that she never had because of his gambling. But because she has the kids, he should be paying child support. The fact that he didn't is one of the reasons it even got noticed to begin with. In truth, there is a bit of an argument that can be made by some, not me, that because he has more money, he should pay more money towards giving them a better quality of life. One would think that a father would want to do that themselves anyway, because after all, their children are the most important thing to them, and not their addictions or habits. But I could be wrong in that. I mean, I don't recall my father doing it, and he wasn't exactly struggling either. But many will argue that the mother was capable of looking after him had he continued to pay the child support. The money was won outside of their marriage, so how it became a shared asset while going through a separation is interesting, because it seems like the period from when the divorce was initiated to when it was finalised was like a transition period, and anything that happened in that time was fair game. And this raises the question of, should that have been the case? Which I ask you, the lovely, lovely audience. Do you believe she should be entitled to what she received, and that is $15 million from the 38 left? Or do you believe she should have gotten nothing, or a lesser amount? Do you believe the money should be divided equally instead with the wife amongst the 3 children, placed in trust funds until they're 18? Or is this a shared asset that the entire family should have access to? Personally, I don't think it should have been considered a shared asset, but I can understand and appreciate if money is put aside for the children to make sure they're looked after in case he loses his way, because having not paid child support, he has shown there is a chance he won't look after his kids, so courts are well within their rights to make sure that they are taken care of. To me, this is all quite interesting, because it shows just how much of a curse winning the lottery is, and a great gift at the same time, because 5 people truly benefit from it, granted not to as much as you might think. That tax, damn, that's a lot. That's hefty. However, you are still left with a rather substantial amount of money, basically a basic purse rate for a Floyd Mayweather fight for him. Please do tell me what you think about this in the comments below. I would really, really appreciate it. I will link the article. I would archive it, but the Washington Post and the EU don't get along very well, so I'll tiny URL it instead. As a final thing, tonight, 9 PM GMT, over on the Omegon Plays channel and on Twitch, I'm going to be streaming some Euro Truck. Please consider joining me. Link to both below. Also, I put up a new creepypasta on Friday, and I forgot to shill it on Monday, or even mention it on Friday, I think, because I didn't make a video on Friday. It's called The Picture in the House. It's 25 minutes long. Please consider going by. I will link it as well below. I'm trying to improve things. So I hope you'll have a lovely Tuesday, and thank you all for listening.